Okay, welcome back. So, just like the first pathway that we discussed earlier on, the second pathway could also lead to changes. It could also regulate things like transcription, things like protein synthesis, the exact same things. Survival, cell death, or also referred to as apoptosis. Did not mention that word in the last video. So apoptosis, or there were things like movement, metabolic nutrient level check, or anything. Okay, like the basic things. So that's about the two main pathways that happen for transducing the signal. We already talked about secondary messenger molecule. Now, just to bring the point home, so signals transmitted along these pathways, they ultimately reach their target proteins, and these target proteins are involved in different cell processes, like we just talked about. And depending on the cell type and the message, these the responses could be involved, like I said. So transcription is, and I may be very redundant here, but I think it's a good idea to just go over it. So transcription would reflect change in gene expression. Okay, then you could have an alteration of the activity of metabolic enzymes, an alteration of activity of metabolic enzymes. You could have a reconfiguration of the cytoskeleton, reconfiguration of the cytoskeleton. You could have an increase or decrease in cell mobility. Change in ion permeability. Activation of DNA synthesis. So that would be a signal to make more protein. Or the death of the cell, or cell apoptosis. Okay, so just exactly what we talked about in the previous video, but just, saying it in fancier terms basically, but the idea is still the same. Now, one more concept that I hope to finish in this video would be the stopping of the signal. So we cannot have a signal going on and on and on all the time, right? We need to stop it. In order to stop the signal, cells do what we refer to as termination. And termination is important because if the signal is not stopped, then it'll just keep going on, and we don't want that, number one. Number two, these receptors and this whole machinery that is doing the signal transduction process, that needs to be able to receive other signals too, because you don't just have one kind of signal being transmitted all the time. First of all, that is wrong anyways, but at the same time, you want to reset your machinery so it becomes receptive to other kinds of signals too. So in order for these two things to work, these two things to happen, you have to stop the signal from happening anymore, from continuing on anymore. And that is the process of termination. And there's different ways you can do it, and in the termination process, there's a term referred to as desensitization, and we'll get to it in the next few videos or so. So hopefully that has helped a little bit in the intro. From the next video onward, we will start with post-translational modification of proteins, and we'll take it from there. Alright, thanks so much.